In mid January, I did a video where I highlighted some of America's worst bus stops. And that video had a bunch of comments, where a number of you highlighted some truly terrible bus stops. And looking at Google Street View, some of them are real doozies. So, let's highlight some even more terrible bus stops, shall we? DJ Pete Sake said, I know a mediocre bus stop in Riverside, California that was so bad they discontinued service to it, probably because of the ditch that eroded between the dirt sidewalk and the street. It's the northbound stop at Dufferin and Van Buren. Well, I guess I'll give a teeny bit of grace here, since the bus stop no longer exists. But, when it existed, that would be a tough one to navigate, for sure. Needless to say, they made a reasonable decision to, well, ditch the stop.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
But if they got rid of this stop because of low ridership, I wonder why the ridership was so low. Oh, maybe it was the ditch. Real Quadmoo said, there's a bus stop on Bainbridge Island off a high-speed rural road in the bushes behind a metal barrier, like you actually have to climb over the guard to get to the pole. I think she was talking about this bus stop, but Real Quadmoo, if you're watching this video, please let me know if I didn't find the right one. The question I initially asked was, should he wait behind the barrier where the sign is? Or ahead of the barrier on the narrow shoulder of a state highway? Either way, it's not ideal. Also, while trying to find this particular doozy on Google Street View, I found some other doozies along State Highway 305 in Washington State. So, for Real Quadmoo to single this one out amid all the others, I know this had to fall below an exceptionally low bar. Dixon M5 said, the worst I've personally used is US 46 at the Passaic Avenue exit in New Jersey. Zoom in, and you can see the shelters on Google Earth. Walk along, and maybe cross on-off ramps with no sidewalk or crosswalk to wait next to traffic doing 55 plus miles per hour. Okay, I have to admit that I'm mildly surprised that my original Worst Bus Stops video didn't even mention US 46 in New Jersey, because I passed by some pretty terrible bus stops on US 46 last April, when one of my closest friends got married. They were bus stops so bad, with schedules so inconvenient, that I, a transit advocate, Ubered from the nearest New Jersey Transit train station to the hotel where I was staying. But this is way, way worse than those terrible US 46 bus stops I saw. At least those stops didn't involve crossing on-off ramps. Yikes. Before continuing with this video, I want to take a brief intermission to highlight a place where you can give money and or time. Something I want to incorporate into more of my videos given all that's going on in the country and in the world. If you feel hopeless about what's happened in Minneapolis, given how ICE has impacted the city, there are many in that area trying to make a positive impact. But one of the entities that is trying to make a positive impact is something called Stand With Minnesota, which is big on mutual aid. Mutual aid that can be offered from afar in some cases. But not just mutual aid. Their giving directory also leads you to organizations you can donate to if you want to donate to an organization on the front lines of all that's going on. So, if you want to help but are not sure how to help, go to standwithminnesota.com, and you may find yourself some leads there. Once again, it's standwithminnesota.com. I'll try and remember to leave a link to their website in the comment section below. Now back to talking about more bad bus stops. Ezekiel 5500 said, "One of the worst bus stops, if not the worst bus stop in Portland, Oregon, is Northwest St. Helens at Milepost 8. It's on the side of a major divided 4-lane US highway that has speeds of 55 plus miles per hour, with the stop on one side of the street just being a bus pole on top of a guardrail. The stop going northbound has no sidewalk, let alone a grassy area. The waiting/drop-off location is literally just a shoulder lane. Not even the southbound stop is actually accessible to wheelchairs, because to get to it, you have to use the stairs to get to the stop. So, I guess this is a 2-for-1, where I get 2 bus stops in one comment. And everything said about these stops is true. What I'm left wondering about the guardrail stop is this: who actually would be able to use this stop? It doesn't provide direct access to any homes. All the homes are on the other side, across the 4-lane highway with the fast traffic. Trans1T Adventure said, "In NYC, there's a bus stop straight off the highway. The Q35 headed southbound at Marine Parkway Bridge and Rockaway Point Boulevard. You can conceivably walk to this bus stop, so I don't think it's the worst bus stop out there. But it's probably one of the most jarring bus stops in a New York City borough not named Staten Island. And possibly one of the worst bus stops in a borough not named Staten Island, because parts of Staten Island apparently don't believe in sidewalks, and therefore don't always believe in sidewalks being built where there are bus stops, which makes a number of bus stops in that borough particularly awful." Cuckoo Dog 1232 said, "All the bus stops I've come across in Houston, Texas, where I live, are at least okay. The worst bus stop I've ever seen in person is in Fort Worth. Check out North Freeway and Heritage Trace on Route 63X and Trinity Metro. The best I can say about it is that the grass is cut short and there's a sidewalk at least a little close. Waiting the grass is still not ideal, though, especially during or after a heavy rainstorm that leaves things muddy. Also, as an added bonus, this stop is right near Interstate 35W in Fort Worth. I think having to breathe all the highway exhaust fumes and deal with all the highway noise is the worst thing about this stop. Not even the grass you have to wait on. So, I hope that whoever waits at this bus stop loves the smell of exhaust fumes, because I am sure that you will get plenty of it at this stop." A friend of mine, who watched my previous bad bus stops video, shared with me this photo of a bus stop in Lowell, Massachusetts. This is a winter edition one, where the bus stop is by a sidewalk, which is fine in theory, but in practice, when the snow is not cleared from the sidewalk, you end up either having to wait in a mound of snow, or else on a busy street, as this friend did. The only question I have is whether the responsibility of clearing the sidewalk is in the hands of Lowell itself, or of the property owner. Because if it's the responsibility of the property owner, then maybe I can give just the slightest bit of grace for it not necessarily being Lowell's fault. Still, this is, not ideal. As for which bus stop I think is the worst of this bunch, I have to go with this doozy by US 46. Due to this stop being in the New York City metropolitan area, I felt I had to give some bonus points. In the bad way, if that makes sense, for this stop. A stop like this simply should not exist anywhere, let alone in the New York metropolitan area. As a relevant aside, I want to start thinking about what sorts of policies could prevent us from having so many bad bus stops? Maybe that exploration will lead to a video of its own at some point. Regardless, I want to hear your thoughts, as well as suggestions for even more bad bus stops, in the comment section below. Make sure to also leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more content on imagining better mass transit in the United States. Thank you, and have a good day.